beautiful morning to you all from the capital city of Abuja. Welcome to the Advent Cable Network Nigeria. This is another exciting edition of Now Streaming, your morning talk show where we address burning issues, celebrate good news, and of course discuss those topics that have the potential to change our lives. I am your host, Charles Philip Owakolam, and I have with me very important guests in the studio this morning. I have Miss Nena Oshibe, the National Secretary, Anglican Youth Fellowship, Church of Nigeria. And also I have with me in the studio Mr. Kolo Nda Francis, the President, Anglican Youth Fellowship, Anglican Diocese of Mina, and the National Assistant Secretary, AYF Nigeria. You are both welcome.
Thank you very much.
I think this is the first time we are having AYF representatives on this show. Yes, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, viewers, will be discussing just like we do every day the trending news for this morning, Friday the 19th of November 2021. And remember, you can call through the number showing on your screen and send your comments, send your questions, and what have you. Various social media handles are right there. It is always a pleasure to hear from you. All right, so we will look at some of the stories making rounds this morning on the social media and everywhere. Then we'll just go ahead to have some little discussion of our own years. Okay, so we just a few days ago, the judicial panel in Lagos State released their report concerning the what happened in Lekki about a year ago, and they have their reports out there. So many reactions have been ongoing, and right here we see why we are yet to act. Buhari tells Anthony Blinken. All right, yeah. So let me start from you, and then
okay. Concerning that particular report, for me, I'll say it's a sigh of relief.
Okay.
Yes. I was actually in Lagos during that particular incident, but not at the venue. I was in Apapa, yes. And we were locked down for almost a week just to clear the whole area.
Exactly.
And sincerely speaking, it has always been controversial from that particular day up until the report was released.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people were for and against. Some people said, yeah, people were killed. And some people said, no, it was just manipulations and all that. You know, and I know the lady who covered it live, that's DJ Switch,
yes.
Yeah, she covered it live. She had to run away for her life too. Because, like I said, it has been controversial. But releasing the report 3 days ago, just some days after the a year after the incident, was a sigh of relief for everybody. People were like, okay, now we know what happened. This is coming from the judicial panel. It's not coming from outsiders or anybody there. They've had people come to testify and they drew up their conclusion. They brought out names that actually people that were affected in that day. Some died while some sustained injuries. Personally, I think it's time for the government to at least apologize to the people.
Okay.
Coming from the human part, after different sides of the view on that same issue. And sincerely, it's going to go a long way to just suppress the anger, at least for those who are still angry about what happened. And for those who have suffered police brutality one way or the other.
Okay.
It's going to come a long way for them to just bring the whole anger down a bit.
Yes.
So we won't have any recurrence. You know, after that particular incident, there were times where people want to go back and reconvene to protest and all that. So I think such a thing would just bring everybody down, the spirit down. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nena. Mr. Francis. Looking at the report, from what Nena said, okay, government should come out, apologize. It's going to douse the tension and the anger. But we look at what Buhari said yesterday. Was it yesterday also to Anthony Blinken that the federal government will wait for the state government to make pronouncements first because they set up the panel. And we're also looking at this angle of the story that says government agents attacking panel members. Now, this is one of the members of the panel, legal practitioner Ebolu Adegborua, is a son, saying that since after they released this report, they have been receiving attacks, people calling them unprintable names, and no, looking at all this, what is your take?
Sincerely, it's quite unfortunate that our country has come to this point where we will no longer have respect for human lives.
Yes.
Beyond apology to the public, I think the report is out. We needed to act as a government. The government needed to act fast on the report. If the government had acted, I think the response to the panel wouldn't have come from that angle.
Yeah.
Because delay, it's dangerous. It has lingered for a year plus, and then report is now out. Then the government is giving us another side of the whole story, and then keeping people on suspense. And as the norm is in our country, with time, this may be swept under the carpet, the entire report. So I think that's what is bringing about the agitation and all of that. But I feel the government should act on time, not taking more time on this, so that it will really calm the entire public.
The situation.
the
Yes.
situation down.
When you say government should act, like she said, government should apologize to the people. I don't know, as young people in Nigeria, apologizing, will it do the work? Just apologizing, and then what's going to happen after apologizing? Or when you say act, in what specific way do you want government to tackle this?
All right. Actually, when I said at my open speech, I said
Yes.
something like beyond apology.
Okay.
Beyond apology, the agitation is to end the SARS brutality.
Yes, police brutality.
Police
and
brutality. SARS is a department in the police force.
yes, even at some point it expanded to
Fine. You have
bad
special
governance.
force
Yes.
and all of that. Now, the truth is, the report is supposed to give us an headway towards solving this issue.
Thank you.
Therefore, the report should be looked into, and thereby solutions be propounded into the whole thing, so that we get an headway in this country. Now, so many lives were lost. These families should be visited, and the right thing be done. They should be given this honor for coming out to speak out their mind, to speak out the truth, to fight for this country. Their blood should not just go for nothing.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. You still want to add something?
Yes, just to add to what he says concerning the reason this agitation started was because of the police brutality. I think that's a major thing the government needs to look at.
Yeah.
The reform and how they relate to the public. Can I go outside and I know that I'm safe with my car and I'll come back home safe without being harassed?
Yeah.
Or would I be arrested for nothing? That is something that should be looked at. Like he said, recommendations after these reports were submitted should be carried out, not just swept under the carpet.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. We'll move on from there. Now we go to some of the stories around insecurity.
Okay.
I mean, every morning you wake up,
One thing or the other.
there. Exactly. So, okay, now we have this comment coming from the Katsina state government, where he says bandits get round telecoms shut down. They use walkie-talkies. And I have another story on insecurity. Deploy more troops to Taraba. Governor Ishaku begged Nigerian government. And then another one, Imam found dead in an uncompleted building in the FCT, right here in the FCT. This story is bordered around insecurity. Yes. What is your take?
Okay, the thing about insecurity is something that unfortunately is just eating deep. Let me put it that way. It's just going in a different tone. Like you talked about Castina, they're trying. The government is trying their best to put up a telecommunication system where they can actually use to intercept this bandit, and they improvise with the walkie-talkie. Like, man, what are we going to do? It's something that I think we need stronger forces right here in Nigeria. I think even the government needs to even pay more attention because I don't see why the government is trying their best to put up something and they are improvising. For me, I think maybe there's an insider somewhere, or there's this special communication they have, or special advisor that's giving them something to do. It's so unfortunate, sincerely speaking. So I think the government itself needs to buckle up, and we as human beings need to also be security conscious ourselves, because now, like I said, you're improvising. You also need to improvise yourself. Find a way to protect yourself.
That's right.
Because I'm not gonna lie, the government will maybe trying their best, yes, but we need to do our own part too. Now, talking about the imam that died in Abuja, may he so rest in peace, is, I don't know, it's something that, going back to protecting ourselves individually, it's something that we just pray that when we wake up in the morning, we hear the good news, not the bad news again.
Yeah.
It's becoming, it's a menace already.
Okay, let's come to you, Francis. What do you have to say? I mean, Nena said government is trying their best. I remember when the telecom system was shut down in some parts of North, people kicked against it and said if something is happening, there wouldn't be a way of communicating with maybe the authorities and the rest of it. And right now, these same bandits, they improvised and they are using walkie-talkie, and they are still carrying on with the activities.
All right. Sincerely, I must be frank with you at this point.
Yeah.
I am not too satisfied with the input of the government as it concerns insecurity. The bandits cannot be smarter than the government,
It shouldn't be.
who has people who have been trained to be security experts, telecom experts. Yet, you have people in the bush who did not attend schools, outsmarting the government or the government agency that are in charge of these things. It's awkward,
Exactly.
if you ask me. The truth is now, as you said, I'm a privileged president of the Diocesan Council of the Anglican Youth Fellowship in the Diocese of Minna. I visit so many places. We have cases in Niger State, and you will have helicopter coming in to drop food, and you're telling me that the government is not aware of what to do. It is not about the walkie-talkie, sir. The walkie-talkie has range.
That's right.
Every walkie-talkie has a range of distances they can cover. So what are we saying? A man who will kidnap somebody and travel through the bush for 8 hours from the evening till morning is still traveling. What do you have to say about that? People were kidnapped just around Zuma Rock, and they were found somewhere around Kaduna State the next morning because the road was blocked and people went into the bush in search of them, that nobody is passing, no government official will pass, and all of that. The entire Emirate Council of Suleja, Emirates Council, Zamzam, was shut down. These guys came out. So if people could take laws into their hands and they got their people back, are you saying the government who can shut down an entire state cannot do something? I think the government need to do more.
Interesting. Interesting. You know, when you said that the people who are trained especially for this kind of things, and then you compare them with the ones who dominantly reside in the bush, I was just wondering, the government officials are supposed to be internationally trained to tackle this. And you remember I said they shouldn't be, the bandits shouldn't be smarter or more intelligent than the government forces, because this is what we expect. But right now, the reality really shows the opposite. The reality shows the opposite. So
sorry to cut you, sir.
Okay.
Do you know these bandits operate within timing? Yes. There are timings that even those in at the motor park already know that they don't move around those routes. Those routes.
By that time.
By that time. So people are already aware. If people get information from the bush that we are not supposed to pass at this particular time, then how much more the government?
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to some youthful some
Some useful
youthful
topics.
matters.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so we have stories coming from the NYSC. The first one, NYSC won't be scrapped, says the DG. And then also we have this one, NYSC decries increased rejection, underutilization of youth corps members. I mean, we all came through this
The
higher
system.
institution, the system, and we
Yeah.
passed through NYSC. Some of us witnessed that rejection, underutilization. Some of us witnessed being used and in an area entirely different from what we
What you are
studied
supposed
in
to do, yeah.
school or your discipline and the rest of it. I mean, do you have do you have what to say? Do you have experiences to share concerning this?
Okay, let's talk about if it should be scrapped or not,
Okay.
first of all. Now, what was the reason behind the whole creation
Yes,
or
of NYC.
bringing up NYC in Nigeria? That should be in Gowon's regime,
Yes,
and it was all about national unity. You
that's
know,
right.
having school in the east, you serve in the north, or having school in the north, you serve in the west, and all that. But coming back to what we just said before, the insecurity issue has like changed a lot of things, and people are even scared to go to different parts of the country
Yes.
right now. And for me, I think that is where the problem started from, or that is why we're facing these issues of having core members being utilized in different ways they are not supposed to. Because if you have everybody go to where they are supposed to be at a certain time, I don't think people will be having that kind of issues. What am I trying to say? For instance, I have a friend who, when I was serving, yes, he studied marketing. He came out
Okay.
with the first class. Obviously, he's expected to be somewhere big, but they posted him to primary school. Yes, and maybe at that time they didn't really have much core members to serve in the state, so they have to just post you where they can just put you in. And for some people, because they are not able to, maintain those core members, they reject them. Like where I work today, we have that same issue. It's not because they can't bring them in, but they want to be able to take care of this core member properly. So they
Yeah,
have
okay.
to reduce the amount of core members that come in at a particular batch. So I just think that the government still needs to go back and check and probably do a reform, not scrapping it entirely.
Okay.
There should be a reform on the NYC system, and students or core members should be guaranteed security. A
That's
lot
right.
of them go to these states to perform their duties and they get killed. Some of them are being used for government jobs, election, or any other thing
That's
the
right.
government want them to do, and lose their life in the process. So sometimes people even opt out from the scheme. So I think we need to have a reform. Like we need to
Okay.
go back and check the whole thing.
Okay, Mr. Francis.
Yeah, sincerely, I will agree with her that we should have a reform.
Okay.
The entire thing have been bastardized. That's the truth. The aim is almost defeated
Mm,
because you still have people who were deployed somewhere. They want to redeploy
that's right.
somewhere, and you have where government also have its own fault, where you approve an establishment that is not buoyant enough to take care of staff. They bring in core members and want to underpay them. And when you underpay them, you can't get the best out of them.
That's correct.
So a situation where even the government agency employ people out of their own skill discipline
Yes.
because of who you know. So it's all boils down to every part of the agency, including the government, the private sector, and all of that.
Okay,
So
so
reform.
we should have a reform.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it. There should be a reform of NYSC. Okay, let's go to the last story before we go to our discussion. Railway workers begin warning strike, cripple operation nationwide. Let me start from you.
Yes, I actually watched that, but I dug deep to know why, and I got to know that somehow some workers received 26,000 naira for 31 days of working, and I started wondering what kind of job will that be? A Dangote driver, the comparison that was done, receives about 250,000 a month as a supervisor, supervising drivers. And then you have a senior staff of railway corporation receiving between 26 and 35,000. I started wondering, the risk, you wake up very early, you put the life of people in his hands to manage through the rail, and then he can choose to do anything on the way in the bush. We're still talking about insecurity. The rail track goes through the bush, and these people are underpaid. Apart from being underpaid, they are not paid regularly.
Wow.
And they are expected to keep working. What if they now arrange with the bandits and they hand over these people to them?
Okay.
So it is so significant that we look into their issue and settle them well. If not, we will be making room for another set of insecurity happening along the routes.
Yeah.
Or the rail tracks.
Wow. Okay, Nena.
Nothing much to say. He explained everything, like there's nothing that annoys anybody that being underpaid. Like you wake up in the morning and you finish from Monday to Friday. And I think for them, maybe they even work weekends too because it's transportation system. I think they move and you have to go home with such amount of money. And we complain about how things get costly every day in the market. So I don't understand how things will go for them. I wouldn't say I'm in their shoes right now to know how the whole thing is being processed in their head and how they're going to work every day. But sincerely speaking, I think their demand should be looked at and the barest minimum to just avoid, like you said, having them connive with the bandits or having any insecurity happening in that sector. It's not going to be funny.
Wow, it is not going to be funny. Viewers okay, that's much we can take on the headlines for now, and we shall be going on a short break. When we return, we will look at the topic for our discussion today. It says the church and the youth ministry. Please stay tuned.
Beaming from the nation's capital, we bring to you the good news through various programming, news updates, worship, and teachings.
The paralysis of sin makes us to be separated from God.
Contact us for your live streaming solutions and event coverage, such as synods, conferences, seminars, revivals, and lots more. Engage us in showcasing your brands and services to the world through adverts and sponsorship. We also offer latest broadcast equipment for rent, all at affordable prices. Tune in to ACNNTV via any free-to-air decoder with the following installation parameters: Intelsat 20 satellite with tuning frequency 12562 MHz, symbol rate 30 Mbps, orbital position 68.5 degree east, and horizontal polarization. You can also keep in touch with episodes of our programs via these social media platforms. For inquiries, please call 070-3265-6544 or mail us via inquiries@acnntv.com. ACNN, reaching the world with the undiluted.
Crossfire, the program that treats controversial topics on diverse issues surrounding the family, church, and society.
Does it mean if a woman now prays with her hair uncovered, God will not honor the prayer?
Should single ladies ask single guys out on a date?
It's not a sign of desperation. It's you knowing what you want and going for it.
Okay.
But you can't tell me that maybe the church is wrong.
Written by if you go through our Church of Nigeria hymn now, you will see so many hymns written by Nigerians.
A man is seeing something here, he's going for something else. Men are confused.
That's why I said you have to help them out.
Okay.
Sir, can you stop a bird from flying?
Depending. But we are not instituting, we are forgiven.
No, we have forgiven,
Yes.
but that forgiveness amounts to a criminal offense.
How?
Hold on.
How?
Section
that's what-
7.
My brother,
Anybody can bring
if
this.
the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? It matters. So,
No, I'm not saying nobody is destroying any foundation here.
eh?
Welcome back, and if you're just joining, this is still your favorite program, now streaming, reaching you from ACNNTV. Remember, you can be part of this program by calling in and give your contribution, send your comments, even through our social media handles. You can really be part of this program, and our social media handles and numbers, they are showing on your screen. All right, I still have my special guest in the studio, and we are now in the discussion segment. We shall be looking at, like I said earlier, the church and the youth ministry. And I still have Miss Nenna Oshibe.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I still have Mr. Nda Francis.
Thank you.
Yes, they are both from AYF Nigeria, and they're also very active in their dioceses. All right. Who should I ask this one? Okay, let me start with the lady. They say
Okay.
ladies first. So tell us
Okay.
about Anglican Youth Fellowship, the
Okay.
structure and
Okay,
Yes.
everything. Okay, like you said earlier, the AYF is known as the Anglican Youth Fellowship. And yes, we are in the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion. And this particular fellowship was founded by the Most Reverend Donald Viling, and that was May 7, 1947,
Okay.
in the current Diocese of Lagos. That was where it started off. And it was mostly a gathering of youths to fellowship and worship God together. He drew members from the CMS Grammar School, Igbobi, and the rest, brought them together to actually worship God. And we thank God that for more than 70 years now, the fellowship is still growing and waxing strong. We have our motto, that's towards a perfect man, from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 13a. The AYF is an arm in the Church of Nigeria that's very, very vibrant and very effective. We run from both the church activities into handling different position and posts in the church outside the AYF.
Okay.
The AYF today, we see them, we actually have them run even the children ministry, help assist in the church. Some of them are all vergers, warding. You have them as Guild of Steward. It doesn't really matter who you are, but there's an age bracket for it actually.
Yes.
And it ranges from 18, that's for, we have the adult youth, we have the youth start session,
Yes.
which are the teenagers, 18 to 40. But for elective posts, you have to stop at 38.
Okay.
Yes. And that is not to defeat the name, the youths, just to have the youths in the ministry. But a lot of people feel that once you pass that, you're off. No, we have the fellows of the fellowship. The people that are still, they want to be part of the fellowship, well, you're always welcome. We don't close the door to anybody in the youth. Now, talking about the structure, we have a very vibrant structures from the National Council down to the units.
Yes.
We have the National Officers Committee members. We have that of the diocesan. We have that of the JEP, that's the Joint Ecclesiastical Provincial Councils.
Okay.
We have the Provincial Council down to the Diocesan Council. Then you have the Archdeaconry and the units, and sometimes the parish level.
Chapters.
Yes, exactly. And the truth about the Anglican Fellowship is that we find a way to bring everybody together. We have the National Executive Committee members that ranges from the diocese, the JEP, the diocesan, the provincial president, the secretary, the Sisters Forum coordinators, the treasurer, and the chaplains. They are all members of the National Executive Council Committee, and we meet from time to time to discuss things about the fellowship, the way to go forward, the way to assist the church, and if there's any problem or issues, we come together to tackle it. We also have joint meetings, that are the annual general meetings that holds every year. We do that together with the NEC meeting. They're actually separate meetings, but we make sure that within 2 or 3 times a year, we hold our general meetings just to come together and have deliberate on issues.
Wow. Thank you very much. Quite an exposition right there.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Francis, in all this, as youth fellowship in the church and as leaders of the youth fellowship, sometimes we come face to face with the priests, the vicars, the archdeacons, bishops, and the rest of it. And one might want to, or one will wonder, does or do things move smoothly? Every time, whenever you come to these fathers of the church, do we have challenges sometimes running the fellowship, both at the unit, the chapter, national, what have you? Do we have challenges in the fellowship right now? What is the youth and the church relationship like? Let me put it that way.
Okay. Basically, you can't really say it is this because it varies from one diocese to another.
That's right.
From one parish to another. But I think the major challenge we have is building a relationship. When we tend to build relationships with our bishops, we build relationship with the church, we build relationship with our vicars, beyond fellowship. Just like normal, me and you today, if I don't have a relationship with you, when I come to ask something from you, it becomes difficult. When I have a relationship with you, I come to you as a father, or as a father that you are to me, and as a son that I am to you. So basically, as youths, we must learn to build relationship, cordial relationship with our vicars, with our fathers in God. By the grace of God, I've been privileged to be branch president. I grew to becoming the diocesan vice president, then diocesan president before going to the National Council. So I have come to know that it is the relationship I build with my fathers in God that give me access to them when I need them. It is not just about when I need them. And then what is my contribution towards the church? Because sincerely, our fathers in God are also running a ministry. So when you are a supporter of his ministry, then you should expect him to support your ministry. So it's a dual thing. So we must also pay our own price for us to have an expectation from the church.
Okay, it's like, Nena, you're itching to say something. Okay.
Yeah, he said something that really caught me about being developing a relationship with the priest in your church. Let's come down to the parish level now, and having a cordial relationship with the ministers in the church. I earlier said something about the AYF. The AYF we have this broad spirit. We're not just Tuesday or Sunday AYF fellowship members. No, a lot of us are active in the activities in the church.
That's right.
Majority of us are in the prayer unit. Majority of us are heading the children's session. Majority of us are Guild of Steward. We are involved in the running of the church. Now, what he said about relationship, I think from his own experience, he said something about it being different. It differs with different dioceses.
That's right.
Yes. We need to start harnessing some of these talents the youth exhibits. I think that's one challenge. You talked about challenge. That's one challenge that is affecting some of us in our churches.
Okay.
Youths need mentorship, however you want to see it. We are still growing. So we need our fathers in God to also come out and check up on us too. Same way we do the same in the church. If there are issues bothering someone, or if you feel that this person is lacking somewhere, try and pull that person back to the church. That's some way you can actually also help. That's on the aspect of the priest, aside what he talked about, building a relationship. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
Okay.
The sincere truth is,
I'm beginning to like this.
I actually, my school of thought, it's always different from others. I don't know why. when it comes to Anglican Youth Fellowship and the church.
Okay.
The truth is, even in mentorship, until you are available, there is nobody to mentor you. So as youths, we must be available
At all
to be
times.
mentored. We must be available to be used.
Interesting.
Because until you are available, until you make yourself, you avail yourself, no opportunity will get to you.
Do you think right now, do you think our church has that system that creates has that system that system of mentorship for the youth, spiritually, morally, and in different ways, or if even capacity development and the rest of it? Do you think that the church has that system outlined right now, that because you said youth should be available for mentorship, do you think we have that system running right now?
All right, I must be sincere with you. The church structure has it.
Okay.
The church
You're going to tell
structure
me, yes.
has it. The challenge we have is the people who run the structure.
Okay.
As a young boy growing up in the Anglican communion, I got to know that the Anglican church is an orderly church.
Yeah.
We are synodically governed. We are episcopally ruled. And therefore, we must obey the precepts of this church. It's a principled church. But the challenge now is the individual capacity building of our fathers in God. You may not have that kind of person who has the ability to mentor. That is a different thing. But I'm talking as a church structure. I'm an Anglican going nowhere. Because in this place, I have seen a structure that has worked for me personally.
We are Anglicans going on.
So
Okay.
I am just trying to encourage the youths that we should play our own part before we start blaming anybody or the church. That's the truth. It's not like there are no challenges, but we have our part to play, and our part is the highest percentage that we need to play before we start talking about the church.
Wow.
Yeah, coming to something you said
Before
about,
you react,
okay.
maybe you add it up. First of all, you said the youth have higher percentage
To play.
of part to play, and then we have for quite a while now we have reports of youths leaving the church, mass exodus of youths
Leaving the
from the
church.
church to new generation churches and the rest of it. What do you think is the cause of it? So,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Like I wanted to talk about the whole empowerment and all
Okay,
that.
okay.
Yes, before I go into that, the truth is, I will still come back to having our different dioceses. I'm not going to say that we don't have the youth development. Totally no. But sincerely speaking, there are so many dioceses today that have empowered youths in so many positive ways. Some of them have included, some of the bishops have included them in as delegates to their synod.
Yeah.
Some of them have even sponsored them to higher meetings.
That's
It's
true.
very impressive, sincerely speaking. Now, coming to some of the reasons our youth leave the church to another church. It's a very difficult one to say because we wouldn't want to push the blame to anybody. But from my own experience, I'm going to talk from the youth angle right now. Francis said something about growing up in the Anglican church, and we're going nowhere. It's all about the individuals now. I wouldn't want to blame the church because I've been an Anglican till now. I was born Anglican, and I had this principle when I was in university: I don't do campus fellowship. If it's an Anglican church, I'm not going. That was me. I was going to the church and I believed myself and I knew what I was doing. Okay. I felt like I received Christ here and I just want to continue there. Now, a lot of people, some personalities tend to be swayed. Some of our youths do not realize what they are looking for until it's late. Your friend wants to go somewhere, wants to go to church, and she wants to look a certain way, and you're like, okay, let me follow this person to go this place. I've been to a church before, I'm not going to mention the name, and when the pastor was preaching, I almost got up and left the church. it was that bad. Yes, I'm going to be very sincere with you. I almost got up because you were not giving me the word. It wasn't coming. It was coming in a different angle. The one that's going to suit to you. The one that everybody's going to say, okay, yes, pastor. That was not how I was brought up. So a lot of youth these days, they need to be grounded. They need to know that. My mother would tell me, if you keep moving from one church to another, you don't know who God is. You need to understand that in the Anglican church, we have everything you're looking for.
Thank you.
I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make it look like it's a church. No, it's not the church. There are youths that have been in the church and they are doing well. It has to do with the individuals. So I think our youths today need to be grounded in the scripture. They need to calm down and realize that whatever they're looking for outside, it is here with us. If you feel you're not getting it in this church, the good thing about the Anglican church is we have branches everywhere. Please go to another church. If you're going to St. Thomas, you can go to St. Barnabas tomorrow and go and listen to the word of God and help yourself. You can actually harness those talents you think you have in the Anglican church. Thank you.
Okay, you talked about being grounded, and we have a comment on social media that said, those ones that are grounded, are they being given opportunity to explore? Should I use explore, or opportunities in the church to, yes, even to find the areas of their ministries in the church? There's a comment you made that the way what's the word now? I'm trying to remember. The dioceses, the experiences you gather in dioceses differs.
Yes.
Yeah. So are the youths given enough opportunities to grow in the church? Okay. Because when you go to these new generation churches, you find youth pastors, you find youth this, youth that, yeah. And however you want to see it, these people are growing, whatever designation they have.
Yeah.
So are we being are we the youths being given such opportunities? And to add to it, Primate came up with Joshua Generation, and this Joshua Generation conference, it has a lot in it. We talked about capacity building, we talked about spiritual growth and the rest of it. They are all inclusive in this program, and he believes, and we all believe, this is one of the ways to get our youths coming back, get our youths growing very well in the church. What are other ways that we can tackle the challenge of mass exodus of youths? Okay. So go.
Yes, going back to the question the person asked, if the church gives the youths room to grow, right?
Yes.
At all points. The good thing about the Anglican Youth Fellowship is that we have produced a lot of
Anglican
priests, evangelists, like
priest wives.
Thank God you're naming it for me. Thank you. We've produced that. For me, I'll tell you that it's a training ground for everybody to harness or to bring out that God's given talent in you. There was one particular year, the theme of the AYF was Power for Exploits. That should be 2018.
Yes.
2018 Power for Exploits. And I still remember that particular conference was held at Oka.
Yes.
Talking about receiving the power to do exploits. That is something we imbibe in the youth. A lot of dioceses today give room to that. Once you're coming from the AYF, once they know, okay, this is who this person is, they give you the room to actually, some of them don't even go through that rigorous process of becoming a priest or not. It's a very free flow for them to go to the theological school, come out and start heading the church and continue your ministry or whatever God has asked you to do in the church. Okay. So for me, I would say yes. The church actually gives the youth the forum to exhibit their talents.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, let me just add a little.
Okay, please
to say the challenge we have is the fact that every young man wants to use what he has learned, even in church, to get money. That's one major challenge.
Wow.
You want to get money. And that's why outside there, they've used it to confuse us. You see, most youths who leave the Anglican church because they play drums, play instrument, one thing or the other, they go there, concentrate on those things. It is business for them. And then our church also needs to spice up our worship life. We are growing, our generation is changing. Yes, it's an Orthodox church, we understand. But there are other things we can introduce into, not living the real thing, but at least there are things we can spice up with the service with. And I, like in my own diocese, you have a free worship service where you have the youths take over the free worship service, non-liturgical services. And then you see, you don't get to hear anything like church hymnal, no. You don't get anything to hear Nicene Creed, Apostles' Creed. You know, it's a free worship, and the youths get their own time and do their own thing. But every youth who is after what he will gain as business, you can develop it. When they invite you for ministration, you get your money. But when you are in church, having it as a yardstick that you should be paid for serving God in your own church, I mean, you know.
There's a comment right now, and I want to use it to ask you this. Somebody said our church hardly trains the youths for these skills. Like right now, we need people for the media in the churches. Churches are gradually, in the Anglican Church, we are gradually going digital. We need sound engineers, we need cameramen, we need these people, we need musicians, all right? The church hardly trains people for this. Now, when you have someone who gained a particular skill from outside, somewhere else, and the person says, I want to be paid for this job, what do you make of it? Is the person wrong? Because you talked about people who maybe have one skill or the other that is needed by the church wanting to get paid. So
yes,
that is why this question.
You can be appreciated. What I'm saying is some people take it as a job. I have so many of them.
Some people, it is their job.
Yes. They take it as, this is my job. The church should pay.
Okay.
But you also agree with me, even if you don't agree, I'm telling you from a practical point of view that I have evidences. There are people who have been trained by this same church in my own diocese. There are people who have been trained and they live to where they can be paid well. So what do we tell the church? It's a two-way thing. What do we tell the church? That if you are saying you should be paid, it's a good one. You negotiate with the church.
Not like I want us to dwell on this.
Sorry, can
pay
I just
or
chip in
not pay.
something?
Okay.
Yeah. There's something they call self-service, and I think right now a lot of our youth need to learn that.
Okay.
That you come to the church and you're offering a certain service to the church. A lot of people misinterpret it that you're doing it for the vicar, or you're doing it for the canon, or the priest wife. They need to understand that you are doing this service unto God. It is your own contribution unto God.
Okay.
You know, in the Bible, they talk about different ministries. What are you doing? God has given you that particular talent. Now you're coming back to the church and you're requesting that you get paid for it. And most of the time, like you said, sometimes you can be appreciated for the good work you're doing. Yeah. But some of the time, it's an entitlement. You have to give me this before I do this. And that is why some of them go out.
Wow.
Sorry, before you leave this, let me just advise the youths. I spoke in a youth gathering, and I told them, sincerely, if you must be paid for this thing and you feel that is your right, it's a good thing. But take it like this. If I'm a sound engineer, do you know I can have an office where I also train people, where I also render services to other churches, and still go to my church, do same service?
Yes, for free.
Even if not for free, even if they have to still appreciate me. But taking it as solely my job, because I'm just in the church. I come to the church in the morning, I stay there till evening. When they have program, I am there. That's where they are paying me and everything. You are even undermining the capacity of your person. You are an instrumentalist, multi-talented instrumentalist. You can open a music school. You train people.
That's right.
It must not be your job. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, what you're saying, it mustn't be on Sundays mustn't be the day of your job. It mustn't be your job on Sundays only.
You depend on it.
Okay.
The life, the world we are living in now, you cannot even survive with just a single stream of income. You have to
Go out and
do
Alright.
other things.
All right. Okay. We really have to move on from that.
Okay.
Yes, we are going to politics. We are going to politics right now.
Okay.
What is AYF doing to mobilize youth to come out in 2023 to vote? Is AYF doing anything right now? And also, probably, if any young Anglican come out for an elective position there, is there anything the AYF is doing so that such person gets maximum support from the youth? I mean, we've had, even in Abuja here, we've had one of our active AYF member came out for elective position. I think a councillor or thereabouts. His experiences were ugly. So is AYF doing something right now?
Sincerely, it is difficult at this point to really say, but I would say the youths in the Anglican Church are doing well in politics, the few that are in it. The truth is, as it stands, we have an AYF member who is local government secretary.
Okay.
As it stands, we have an AYF member who is a ward councillor.
Yes.
As it stands, we have AYF members who are in one elective, appointment position in one place or the other. But I want to tell you some challenges we have, as you rightly cited, in Abuja. In the north generally, it is pretty difficult for you to have a Christian come out and widely accepted, except for some few places like Taraba, like Jos, the Plateau. But when you come down, I am from Niger State. Okay. Until you go to somewhere like Bida, you get to somewhere like possibly Bida and Environ, Kutigi and all of that, House of Assembly members. That's where you get some few Christians. The reason being that once you come in, they expect you to play the politics like them. But I know from the east, west, and then south, we have Anglicans who are active, and we do everything humanly possible in the Anglican Youth Fellowship to support them, to encourage people around them to come out to vote for them. I know in Akure we have an AYF member who is a member of House of Assembly. You understand? So there are people who are coming out to be part of politics, and we are encouraging them. But in the north, I'm an indigene somewhere, and a very popular one. You understand? But you know, when it comes to politics, you must be careful. The goal is heaven at last. Let's not concentrate too much and then lose the focus.
Okay, Nena, we are rounding up because we're out of time. So 60 seconds. And to add to that, he advised youths a while ago. So I needed to also advise the church.
Okay.
Right now, yes.
Okay. Concerning the advice to the church for the youths, you said something earlier about our primate, the Most Reverend Henry Dukuba, about his vision for the youth and how he has gone thus far. I actually want to plead that this vision goes down to all the dioceses. It's obvious that he's ready, he's out to work with the youths and give them a good landing, going with his 10-year plan. So we really want to advise that our fathers in the church and every other worker in the church should please key into this vision, because it's going to go a long way for the youths down there. It's very, very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Ladies first. Thank you, Nena Shibe, for
thank you very
finding
much.
our time. Yes,
thank you. It's my honor to be here.
Yes,
thank
welcome. You. And thank you, Francis Nda,
Colonda Francis.
Colonda Francis. Yes,
Thank you.
I was thinking about the first one. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much for finding out time to be here. It was really a great time with you guys. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, this is where we'll call it a day for today's program. Till we'll come your way again, same time, same station. Be a law-abiding citizen. Be vigilant. If you see something, say something. And always report criminal acts to appropriate authority and do good at all times. Do well to register for your voter's card. And if you have already, get ready to vote. If you haven't, please do well to get registered. Be a card carrier of a political party and be ready to actively involve in politics. Governance is for everyone, not just for some selected few. And remember, God is the ultimate protector and deliverer. Therefore, put your trust in Him. Thank you so much. We hope to have more of this and more of you in the next edition of the program. I am Charles Philip Owakolam. Bye-bye.